before we get started with council, I just want to give an update for Councillor Bjorkman. I'm very, very, very happy to say that he went through his test. He met with the surgeon today. There's no cancer. So he has tumors, but they're not cancerous. So that's great news. So I just wanted everybody to know, because everybody's been asking me, and Councillor Bjorkman asked me to speak for him. Thank you. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, and can I have a report on the closed meeting, please?
No report this evening.
Okay, no reports. Okay. Any conflict of interest amongst the councilors? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a conflict on resolution cuts to Ontario Library Services because I'm an employee of the library system, so I will be declaring conflict when that topic comes up.
Thank you, Councillor. And the adoption of the published agenda. Did you have something to?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just a small amendment to the agenda. With council's permission, we need to move item 6.2, which was the Town of Essex Accessibility Advisory Committee. We need to move that from presentation to 11.2 under correspondence, and specifically added as 11.2.2 as correspondence for receipt and support. This deals with a proclamation, so it should properly be under correspondence.
Do we need a motion for it?
Mr. Mayor, just a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Yes, can I have a motion, please? Motion, Councillor Bowman, a seconder. Councillor Verbeek, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Item 5 on the agenda, adoption of minutes. 5.1, that the minutes of the regular council meeting of May 6, 2019 be adopted as circulated.
Deputy Mayor Malash, seconder, Councillor Darren. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
5.2, that the minutes of the special council meeting of March 23, 2019 be adopted as circulated.
Mover, please. Councillor Verbeek, seconder, Councillor Darren. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
5.3, the minutes of the special council meeting of April 2nd, 2019 be adopted as circulated.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Darren, seconder. Councillor Bowman, all in favor? It's carried.
5.4, the minutes of the special council meeting of April 8th, 2019 be adopted as circulated.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Bondi, seconder, Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this meeting was titled Office Accommodation Review, and when we go forward, I would really like that the wording of this be $6 million new town hall discussion or something along that lines, because if you're a lay person looking and pulling up our agendas online and you read office accommodation review, you're thinking, okay, maybe they're putting up a wall, maybe they're moving an office around. It's a big ticket item. It's the biggest ticket item that this council will deal with, and it's our new town hall. So that we have to call it like we see it. We have to work on being transparent. So just in reviewing the notes, I saw that, and I think going forward we need to have that wording. Also, in the minutes, I don't know if Councillor Bjorkman was there. I don't believe he was, but he's seconded one of the motions. And maybe there was an initial mix-up. Maybe I seconded it. I don't know. We both have the same initials, right? But he wasn't there, so I think we need to fix that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Benino.
I agree with Councillor Bondi that we can't hide this behind this administrative, this bureaucraties. It should be called New Town Study so that people know what we're doing. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you.
And 5.5, that the minutes of the special council meeting of April 27th be adopted as circulated.
Mover, please. Councillor Bowman, seconder. Seconder, please. Councillor Darren. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Oh, we have a question? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I I just want to thank council and administration for putting this together. I've been on council for 8 years, and it was a really good day. It was a team building day. It was a really educational day for us, and I think it really is going to make our council strong in terms of awareness of our capital facilities. So thank you to our CEO and our past CEO for organizing it, and for all of council. It was really nice having you in the southern neck of the woods, and I can say the same for the northern half. It was really nice. I've never been through the sewage treatment plant, so I think that is an awesome thing that we really did as a group.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, I found it very interesting myself. It's especially the water department and the sewage facility. So, all in favor of that motion? It's carried. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, our first presentation this evening is to our two youth council members, Ava Hoffman and Cameron Susi. Mr. Mayor, I understand on behalf of Tracy Ramsey, Member of Parliament for Essex, you have a congratulatory certificate to present to our two youth council members.
It's always nice to have active youth council here, so congratulations.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So 6.2 has now been moved over to 11.2.2 as a result of adoption of published agenda. Moving to 6.3, our presentation this evening, we have here a delegation from Enbridge Gas. Stephen Jellick, Director of the Southwest Region Operations for Enbridge Gas Inc., is here to present on the 2020 Windsor Pipeline Replacement Project, and also asking Council to consider supporting this project in principle and to provide a letter of support as part of their application to the Ontario Energy Board.
Thank you, Rob. Gentlemen, if you want to come forward, thank you. Anytime you're ready, gentlemen, you can start.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity this evening to present about Enbridge Gas' proposed 2020 pipeline project, replacement project. My name's Steve Jellick. I'm the Director of Regional Ops for Southwestern Ontario. And I'll say that recently we've gone through a number of restructurings to better align our company as one, so really combining Union Gas and Enbridge Gas Distribution. So the thing I'd like to get across, despite the change in name, we're very much the same people doing the same job, committed to the safe, reliable delivery of affordable natural gas services. Tonight, to my left, I have Rob Marson, who's the project manager for this project. Directly to my right, I have James Whitaker, who's the regional construction manager, and to his right, I have the operations manager for Windsor, Essex County. So what is it that we do? I would hazard to guess that many of you are quite familiar with the gas distribution side, in other words, the utility services piece, We have 3.7 million customers and over 500 communities that we serve. Areas that you might not be aware of is the natural gas pipeline, the big transmission pipe, we have that as well, and then the liquids pipeline. And then I'd say I'd be remiss if I said that I didn't share with you that we're not just a traditional oil and gas company. We're focused on all forms of energy, including renewable power and emerging technologies. So you think of your solar, your wind farms, your CNG, compressed natural gas, and your renewable natural gas. That's us. So it's quite a portfolio. Next. So, turning the page a bit to Enbridge Gas Inc. So Enbridge Gas was formed on January 1st, 2019 from the amalgamation of Union Gas Limited and Enbridge Gas Distribution. We are one of the largest integrated storage, transmission, and distribution natural gas utilities in North America, and we're based in Ontario. I think if you look at the map, it shown on this slide, it indicates that we serve all of Ontario. And looking at it, I think you can see that we have a sizable footprint within Ontario. So our core values, again, they have not changed. Safety, integrity, and respect continue to underpin everything we do. I'd like to share with you that we meet 40% of Ontario's energy needs, and we heat more than 3/4 of Ontario homes. Enbridge is recognized as a leader in energy efficiency, conservation. The conservation programs designed and delivered by Enbridge Gas have saved residential, commercial, and industrial customers about 20 billion cubic meters of natural gas and reduce the CO2 emissions by about 40 million tons. Safety and reliability is our number one priority, period. That's table stakes for us. And I know many of you here this evening have firsthand experience with the work that we do, and we work very closely with your first responders. So our project and the purpose. There's no doubt this is a significant investment in the local utility infrastructure. It ensures a safe, reliable, and affordable supply of natural gas in Windsor, Essex County, and Chatham-Kent to help the growing local economy continue its momentum. Be it automotive manufacturing, hospitals, grocery stores, or your own home, we serve this community with a focus on safety and reliability. Let me share some of the technical details of this project. So the replacement will occur in Tecumseh, Lakeshore, and Chatham-Kent, approximately 60 kilometers. It will occur primarily where the existing Windsor pipeline is now, along County Road 46 and Lakeshore Road 309, and Goudreau Line in Chatham-Kent. I think the map indicates the proposed project route, which essentially is going from our Sandwich South station to the Port Alma station. Again, we're replacing the existing 8 and 10-inch pipe with a new 6-inch pipe that will operate at a higher pressure. Now, the estimated cost of this project is around $88 million. And I think perhaps, maybe most importantly, is that we're committed to engaging the community as part of our planning process. I'll say that recently we had information sessions and they were held, and I'll say pleased to say that over 70 residents attended and there was good discussion at all of those sessions. I know that there have been some questions asked about capacity and why are we going with a 6-inch pressure or 6-inch pipeline at a higher pressure. And I'll say, first off, Windsor and Essex County are not facing a shortage of available natural gas infrastructure. I think our investments over the last 5 years of approximately $500 million have significantly enhanced the capacity in the region. Further, let let me assure you that the Windsor Line replacement project is a like-for-like replacement of the existing pipeline. There is no loss in capacity for the region, and further, the new pipeline contains enough capacity to meet all future growth in this area, and it is a generous forecast for 20 years, including the new hospital. And I guess the last point I'd like to make is that there was some questions as well with regards to, have we turned down any particular potential customers to connect to this pipeline? And the answer is unequivocally no, we have not. So, the Ontario Energy Board review and approval process, no secret here, this project is subject to Ontario Energy Board approval. And again, it's our plan to submit an application to the OEB this summer. If we receive the approval, construction would begin in mid-2020, and we would be complete in the latter part of 2020 would be our target. So, as you know, we have a strong construction history working alongside homes and businesses. This project is really no different. I'll say that there's approximately 450 properties along this project route that are directly connected to the existing Windsor pipeline by meters like the one that you see in this picture and that you probably see at your own residence. Our commitment is simple. We'll continue to work with these property owners to ensure a smooth transition of service to the new pipeline, and that'll involve some temporary gas service outages and subsequent appliance relight. And I guess I'd like to emphasize that this is a matter of hours. This is not days of outage. This is hours of outage. So I think I said earlier $500 million worth of investment. So it is, and I'm proud to say that, we've invested that, or in the process of investing that. And I think if you look at the projects along the bullet points over 5 years, you can see that there's significant investment in the Panhandle, and this all leads to driving, I'll say, the sustainable and reliable energy that people of Windsor, Essex have come to enjoy. Next. So in closing, I thank you for the opportunity to present to Council tonight. My ask is rather simple. We'd like a letter or resolution of support for this project from Council, which would be included in our OEB application. Again, a letter of comment or resolution of support will help demonstrate support and need. I can tell you that previous resolutions of support for other projects from within Essex County Council and other municipalities have made a difference, and it is our interest to receive that support again. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have with regards to this replacement project.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Council, have any questions? Councilor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to our delegation, well, it's not very often that we see one of our utilities come to us wanting to spend money, so can you knock on 101's door and send them here next for us, would you? To me, it's a no-brainer to support it. I'm kind of wondering why you need our support when it doesn't even go through our municipality. But hey, I mean, I support it. I don't know what the balance of council does, but I think it's good. It seems like it's proactive, and this is the first time since I've been here that something like this has happened. So thank you for coming and bringing that communication piece and closing all those questions I had, the outage hours and the capacity, and it sounds like a really good move for our region. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Vandendorf.
I have one supportive question, but I want to add to what Councilor Bondi said, that we're glad that you've shown your faces here. We know you've taken quite a beating in the media in places that you don't deserve, in my opinion. I've been a happy customer of your clean and affordable stuff for 40 years here. I don't think young people in the room or young listeners realize how dirty and expensive home heat was before you guys started supplying us. So I'm a wholehearted supporter of this, partially because half of my family works in northern Alberta in the oil and gas industry, but also for the reasons I mentioned. But my question is, what happens to the old line? Are you leaving it in the ground as backup, or does it get removed? Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Want me to answer?
Yeah.
Thank you, Council. Rob Marson, the project manager here, a little bit closer to the project than Steve. So we'll be decommissioning that line. Part of the activities to decommission it will be to remove it rather than abandon it in place. In some locations where we're going through some streams or other areas of environmental sensitivity, we'll abandon it in place because it's less disruptive and less impactful to the environment to do that. And we'll be following the 662, which is the code that we use for the standard to follow those best practices.
Thank you, Councillor Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. So, thank you for the presentation this evening, and I am also in support of this construction. But I do have a couple of questions that were posed at County Council last week or the week before. I know that they had some concerns about, first of all, this is a replacement of a pipeline that was built in the 60s, I believe.
Well, actually, there's different components of it, but it's vintage, I think 30s, 40s, and 50s, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So we know going forward, the line you're putting in is probably going to be there for 60, 70, or 80 years, potentially. So we would appreciate if, and I'm sure that you will, cooperate with the county. The road that the pipeline's going down is a county road,
Yeah.
and they're going to be looking at four-laning that roadway probably over the next 10 years. And they're looking at trying to ensure that, and I know that they're talking with you folks as well about whether it's going to be in the laneway or whether it's going to be to the side of the road. And I'm sure that all will be taken care of. So to get county support, all of that would have to be taken care of, I'm sure, and that's what came out of that meeting. But for the town of Essex, we appreciate you coming, obviously, to inform us as a council. Like Councillor Bondi was saying, it doesn't run through our municipality, but we are part of the county, so we appreciate hearing what's going on and asking us in any case. The other question that came up the other night, and we didn't really get a good answer on it, I think, was we know that this is a replacement pipe, but it's not to add for future development. I'm just trying to get a clarification on that, correct? Is that correct?
Yeah. So would you like me to respond to the first question first or the second question?
First and then the
Okay, so the first, we plan to start actually consultation at the end of the week. So we will be working closely to make sure that whatever plans that county has, we take that into consideration and make it a workable solution for both. So absolutely, that's par for the course. Number two, this whole idea about capacity, similar to every project we'll do an analysis, a network analysis. So what we've done is we've looked 20 years out at growth, and this pipe that we're proposing will more than meet the potential growth that we see in the next 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Addition to that, so we know that this pipeline is going to be in the ground for the next 60 to 80 years.
Right.
What would happen, so you're accounting for the next 20 years worth of growth. What about the additional 40 to 60 years after that?
Absolutely. So not unlike other parts of our distribution system, if the need came, we would be looking at reinforcement, and we do that as a normal course of business.
Great, thank you very much. I think you've answered my questions.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I do have a question.
Yes.
So you're saying that when this line goes in, if there's any repairs that need to be done, it would be covered by your company? If the road, let's say if the pipeline goes in down the county road and there's a repair, let's say there's a repair, if that road is dug up, who's going to cover that cost?
A repair to the road or to the pipeline?
To the road.
To the road.
To dig a line up for repair for some unknown reason, who's going to cover the cost of the road?
I can answer that. So if we're working on our own asset and it happens to impact the road, the road has to be repaired, the Enbridge Gas would be paying for that repair.
And one other question, and maybe council would like to know too. You answered it at the county. The reason from 8-inch to 6-inch line.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. The reason that when we looked at the replacement, we did an engineering study to take a look at what would be the best value for Enbridge and the community to replace the line. So after we did the review, we looked at a number of different scenarios, and there was different sizes and different pressures that we evaluated. The 6-inch, operating at the higher pressure, provided a like-for-like capacity for the system, and it also met all of the growth forecasts that we have for the next 20 years. And to establish that growth forecast, we reached out to all of the communities to identify what activities they had planned, and we also included the Maple Hospital. So it became a balance of meeting future capacity and the cost to replace the pipeline, and the 6-inch was the best option available.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted council to know that. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for the presentation. Thanks a lot. And I need a motion. It's Councillor Vandendal, seconder for support on the letter. Councillor Bondi, all in favor of the support? It's carried. Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, item 8 on the agenda this evening is reports from administration. 8.1, Building Report 2019-04. That sub-report providing council with an update on activity within the town for the month of April 2019 be received.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bowman, seconder. Councillor Bondi, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
8.2, Economic Development Officers Report 2019-04, re Essex Tourism Events Fund application for receipt, and that council approves the distribution of $1,000 of funding for a tourism events fund applicant.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Bondi, seconder. Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions on this one? All in favor? It's carried.
8.3, Communications 2019-03, Bike Month 2019 events, said report for receipt.
Have a mover, please. Mover. Deputy Mayor Malash, seconder. Councillor Verby. Any questions on this one? All in favor? It's carried.
8.4, Community Services 2019-24, Special Events Resource Team May update for receipt.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Guerin, seconder. Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Malash.
Just a comment, it just blows me away how many events that we have when I start reading through these reports when we get them. But it's awesome what this team does. That's it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other questions? Councillor Vandendal.
What's the meaning of a non-objection letter or something from the Transportation Museum? What's that about, through you, Mr. Mayor?
Could you answer that, please?
Your Worship, to get their special occasion permit through AGCO, there's certain requirements, and we have to approve a letter of non-objection for them holding the event as a municipality.
So, I don't get it, non-objection, but why are they in a separate category from the other events?
Through Your Worship, it's not on town property, but it's a requirement that they need town permission.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
8.5, Community Services 2019-25, read Colchester Harbor, 2019 Blue Flag certification. That said report informing council that the Colchester Harbor was again certified in 2019 as a Blue Flag Harbor be received.
Have a mover, please. Councilor Bowman, seconder. Councilor Guerin, all in favor? Yep, all in favor. Any questions? Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, who is environmental defense? Like, where are they? Who funds them? What do they do?
Your Worship, my understanding it's a nonprofit. In Canada, it's administered by Environmental Defense and internationally by the Foundation of Environmental Education. So,
I'm afraid that doesn't tell us who they are, or like who's behind them. And why would we be putting ourselves in their hands as to saying whether our harbor is good or bad?
it's an international certification program. 3 years ago, we entered into it. We got judged, but in terms of their background, I can forward that to council. Kind of a bio for them, get more information.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think we should be proud of it. That says a lot for our harbor to get it 2 years in a row. So, thank you. All in favor? It's carried.
8.6, Community Services 2019-26, results of request for proposal, design, supply, and install New Townsview Park playground equipment. The said report be received, and that council awards the RFP to New World Park Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $167,853.12, inclusive of HST.
Have a mover, please. Councilor Bowman, seconder. Councilor Guerin. Any questions on this one? Councilor Bowman.
It was neat to see the kids coming in and looking at the design set up the other night and choosing what they thought was the best design. So great work by our administration for setting that up, and it's sort of a buy-in by the community. Great work.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions, Deputy Mayor Malash?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that it's a beautiful structure, and it's nice to see it come under budget like it did. Gives us an opportunity for moving forward on other centers and play structures that we need in the community. So, great job.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you, Doug, for the good work.
8.7, Infrastructure and Development 2019-05, results of request for tender, third concession road culvert replacement for receipt, and that council awards the request for tender to South Shore Contracting in the amount of $554,373.21, including taxes.
Have a mover, please. Deputy Mayor, Councilor Bondi, seconder. Have a seconder? Vanderdoel. Councilor Vanderdoel. All in favor? It's carried.
Infrastructure and Development 2019-06, results of request for tender, supply and application of maintenance stone for 2019 for receipt, and that council awards the request for tender to Southwestern Sales Corporation Limited in the amount of not more than $160,000, including taxes.
Have a mover, please. Councilor Verbeek. Deputy Mayor Malash, seconder. Any questions? Councilor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad to see some of these tenders coming in and being approved. I also just want to put a little plug in that hopefully we can have that roads meeting soon so we can get the rest of our roads up and running. I don't want to have the excuse as we're tendering too late in the season, because if it was up to me, then I'd completely pause the Gore and the 8th. I don't want to be backed up into a corner where we have to rush it. So I'm hoping that that's the next big item that council tackles.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Vanderdoel.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, I just found the answer to my question. I wanted to know whether this was local stone or whether it was the higher quality stuff, and I see that it's 100% dolomite, so that's better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you.
Item 9, any reports from our youth members this evening?
Any reports? Ava?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So tonight I'd just like to talk about my youth group, Squires of Mary. We're having a Land and Sea fundraiser dinner this Saturday, the 25th of May, and it's a big fundraiser that we do every year, and it helps us raise money to do all of the volunteer work that we do and put on the dances that we do for the community living. So I have 4 tickets here, and if anybody wants to buy one, that'd be great. This is the last 4 tickets. It's going to be sold out. A 10-ounce steak is $20, half of a chicken is $20, a full lobster is $35, and you can add a lobster to any of that for $20. And there'll be a salad bar, a dessert bar, and there'll be a live band.
Thank you, Councillor. And where is this located? Where is this going to be located?
This is at the Knights of Columbus Hall in McGregor.
Thank you. Councillor Susi, you got?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Malash, you have a question?
Yes, I just want to help Ava and give her a little plug here. I've been to this event for the last couple of years. Don't eat all day if you're going to go, because there's so much food you cannot. Most people bring something home with them because they just cannot eat everything that they're given. But a really good salad bar and a really good potato bar as well. So it's an awesome night. Lots of prizes. There's I'm not sure if you have music this year, but there's been music in past years. And it's a really good time. A lot of the community is there. It's just jam-packed. So if you want a really good meal, this is the time to take her up on the offer. Unfortunately, my wife and I won't be here. We'll be out of town this weekend, so we won't be able to go this year. But thanks, Ava, for helping put this on.
Any other questions? I just want to thank both of you for being very, very involved with the community. You put a lot into it, so thank both of you. All in favor? Scary. Thanks.
Item 10 on the agenda, any updates from County Council?
I haven't got anything, Deputy Mayor Malash. Nothing to report.
Through you, Mr. Chair, moving on to 11.1, correspondence to be received. The correspondence listed in 11.1 be received and where indicated to further share using suitable methods of communication.
Motion, please. Councillor Verbeek, seconder. Deputy Mayor Malash, any questions on any of these? All in favor? It's carried.
11.2.1, Mr. Mayor, 11.2, correspondence to be considered for receipt and support. 11.2.1, correspondence received from the Township of McClellan, Town of Hanover, and Township of Essex, asking for council support in petitioning the Ontario government to restore the funding to Ontario Library Services for receipt or receipt and support.
Have a mover, please, on this one. Deputy Mayor Malash, seconder, Councillor Verbeek. Any questions? What kind of got a question? Go ahead, Councillor.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to vote against this. I mean, we're all aware that our province has been running deficits of $10 to $15 billion a year for more than a decade. They've got to cut something. This seems fairly painless. They haven't removed it. They cut it in half. In fact, they're being very vague about what it is that they do that's so crucial. So I don't want to vote in support of this because I think we should let the province attempt to balance its budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Malash.
Just to receive. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Councillor, you want to withdraw your motion? Your support on the motion? Okay, you're going to... Okay.
I don't have my mic on. We did have our chief librarian talk a little bit about it at our last county council meeting. And so there is a little bit of an effect on what it is it affects anybody who's a loaner of books, like within organizations. So Essex County loaning books to Windsor Public Library, or Essex County loaning books to Kent County Library System, the Chatham-Kent Library System. That's where you're seeing that the cuts are going to be for us as a county library system. When you get to Northern Ontario, it gets more important to have funding for that because they do a lot more of it in Northern Ontario than what they do here in Southern Ontario. So Sherry, help me out. Oh, you're not allowed to talk. But just that we're not going to be affected as much as what the Northern Ontario library systems are going to be, and I believe that I agree with what Councillor Vanderdolen was saying. I think there's going to be some cuts in this province. If there's going to be cuts, this is one of the areas that we can afford to have a cut. It'll add some expense to us, but not to the point where it's detrimental to our library services here in Essex County. So that's my spiel on it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other questions? So, Councillor Verbeek, you want to make the motion again? Just Reese? Just Reese? No? Okay. I need a seconder for the motion then. Just Reese. Councillor Bowman. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thanks.
11.2.2 on the agenda, as moved from 6.2 on the published agenda, is correspondence from the Town of Essex Accessibility Advisory Committee, asking Council to consider proclaiming National Accessibility Week in the Town of Essex, and if so supported, that Council proclaims the week of May 26th to June 1st as National Accessibility Week by adopting the resolution therein proposed.
What's your pleasure on this one? Supported by Councillor Bondi. Seconder, Councillor Guerin. Is there any questions on this one? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think because last week it wasn't in it wasn't a public session, but it wasn't here where we approved the approval of our ramp going down the harbor. So in honor of that, we should just mention that council did support the ramp leading from the top of the hill down to the bottom of the hill, not unanimously, but council did support it. And you were a big part of that, Mr. Mayor, taking leadership. And Councillor Bjorkman, who's not here, is on the Accessibility Committee. And I'm sure he would have mentioned it tonight if he was here.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Item 12, committee meeting minutes, that the minutes listed in item 12, together with any recommendations noted, be received, approved, and adopted as circulated.
Have a mover, please. Mover, Councillor Bowman. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions on these? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
13.1, that the bank payments report for the month of March 2019 be ratified as submitted.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Guerin, seconder. Councillor Vanendel, all in favor? It's carried.
13.2, that the bank payments report for the month of April 2019 be ratified as submitted.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Malash and Councillor Verbeek. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried.
Item 16.
Item 16, any reports and announcements from the council members this evening?
Deputy Mayor Malash.
None at this time, thank you.
Councillor Guerin.
None at this time.
Councillor Verbeek.
None at this time.
Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. He turns it on like he knows I'm going to speak. So I see tonight we accepted the building report, and as council can note, there was no building permits issued in Ward 4. So I do think there may be appetite to at least have the discussion about continuing with waiving Ward 4 development fees. I would raise it myself if I thought I could get it passed, but I'm just throwing it out there saying that I really hope that we can have some leadership and do that for Ward 4 if there's council appetite.
Councillor Vanendel.
Not this week, thank you.
Councillor Bowman.
Nothing this week, thank you.
Thank you. To say something on Councillor Bondi, I'm sure that's going to come forward, and I'm sure we're going to look at that, because that's a very, very important part of our municipality, and yes, there's no growth there right now, but potentially there's a lot happening in that area, so, yeah, and our CAO will speak to that too. Thank you.
Through your worship, Councillor Bonnie, as you know, we're doing our development charge study right now. Part of that process is coming back to council to determine how council wants that study and those charges to shake out. So that's something that will be discussed, I think in July is when we're looking to come back to council on that.
Thank you, Chris, and I'm sure sitting here as the mayor of this town and some of the councilors here, we know what direction we're going. And it'd be safe to say that, we have to look at Ward 4. We do. So, thank you.
Item 17 on the agenda, bylaws. Bylaws for third and final reading. 1816, the McGregor Home Hardware rezoning application, the bylaw to amend 1037.
Have a mover on that one? Councilor Vanendel and Councilor Bowman. Any questions on this bylaw? All in favor? Carried.
1819, the confirming bylaw from May 6, 2019.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Malash and Councilor Darren. All in favor? Carried.
Bylaws for 3 readings this evening. 1821, to authorize the execution of a lease agreement between the town and M&M Canteens for rental space at 60 Fairview Avenue West.
Mover, please, Councilor Bondi and Councilor Darren. All in favor? It's carried.
1822, being a bylaw to appoint a Director of Development Services for the town of Essex.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Malash and Councilor Verbeek. All in favor? Carried.
Bylaws for 2 readings this evening. 1823, to confirm the proceedings of this May 21st meeting.
Have a mover, Councilor Vanendolen and Councilor Darren. All in favor? It's carried. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Councilor Bondi and Deputy Mayor Malash, all in favor of adjourning? Thank you. And thanks for the couple people that come out tonight.